Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Over there, you will find a description of the day's astrology as I've spelled it out here. Here, I'll discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'll play another card that, in the context of the day's astrology, may just give us something more to think about. So, let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page is the Seven of Swords, and it is here because it corresponds in astrology with the last 10 days or the third decan of the sun's transit here in the land of Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign, and swords in tarot represent air element symbolism. Air element symbolism is very much about the intellect and the rationale, what and how we think, what and how we plan, and what and how we say is what the swords and the air element are about. So we come to the Seven of Swords here, and we see, if we think of these swords as thoughts, plans, and words, we see somebody sort of making off with some thoughts, plans, and words, more than they can probably use for themselves, and probably just by the way this person is acting, not their own, right? So the first thing that always comes up for me that is protect your intellectual property. If you have intellectual property, make sure that you've got it copyrighted, make sure you've got it protected in the ways that you need to, so that nobody can make off with your good ideas and call them your own, okay? But you know what it comes down to with this card is that there's a matter of deception here. There's some trickery, maybe some hope, you know, if we're watching this person make off with these things, some hope that we will turn a blind eye to their behavior. You know, sometimes we feel a little pressure to be dishonest in order to get what it is that we want or need. You know, that would equate to like lying on your resume, or, you know, sort of just making yourself out to be something that you're not, so that you can take advantage of a situation. And, you know, the problem being that you're going to be constantly hoping that nobody caught you in your lie, and you'll be looking over your shoulder, and if somebody does catch you in your lie, then you're in a bad position, right? So you know, let's do our best not to live in dishonesty in any way, right? There's really no reason ever to lie about what it is, what we're doing, and really the hassle that comes with getting caught, sort of stealing. You know, there's a philosophy that thinks of lying as a form of stealing, right? Because you're sort of stealing from a person the right to know what is truly going on. So just understand that when we do that, we put ourselves in a position, where we could get caught, and that could cause some problems for us. Or, you know, just be where, you know, we've made ourselves out to be something that we're not, and we might not, you know, really be happy with what's expected of us once we find out what's expected of the person that we said we were, but we're not. Does that make any sense? I think it does. Okay, so I haven't shuffled these cards. I'm going to go ahead and do that really quickly today. And just thank you all for being here. I appreciate your presence every day. While I sit here and ramble about astrology and tarot. Mercury is moving on into Aquarius this morning, so that Aquarian vibe is getting particularly strong for us, that search for the replacement or renewal of systems, structures, institutions, habits, ways of being, you know, in terms that don't just benefit us, but benefit all people, is intensifying, becoming stronger, and becoming, again, part of our thoughts, words, and plans, because that's what Mercury is all about. Okay, let's turn this card over. Two of Wands, and today I am using my new deck. It is the Ethereal Visions Tarot, the Luna edition. Oh, see how sparkly it is. I love it. It's an Art Nouveau deck. I've always wanted an Art Nouveau deck, so I was delighted to find this one when I went shopping the other day. So the Two of Wands represent fire element symbolism, and fire element symbolism is about that spark, that drive, whatever it is that you're feeling that makes you want to get up and get moving, to accomplish things, to sort of make conquest of our goals, right? So that we can achieve more things. Okay, so here we are at the Two of Wands, and we might have looked at a Two of Wands recently, but this is a point of planning. This is very much the beginning of the Wands story, and it basically says, you know, I do have some drive and ambition here. I have a couple of things under my belt. I've learned how to use this wand. I've learned how to use this this ambitious spark that I have, and now I see that there is probably no limit to what I could do. So the person in the Two of Wands sort of looking out from a high point, beholding, you know, the world before them, the ocean, the land, and just noticing like how much there is to accomplish in the world, how much there is that they could do with the materials that they see there, to create something, you know, something they can celebrate, something that they can be proud of or consider an accomplishment or a victory. So Two of Wands, very much planning mode, very much assessing what it is that's available to us, and making big plans going forward. So that's a positive that's a positive card, I think. I love to be in that position where I have, you know, I have big plans, or I've set a big intention, and I get to start making the plans as a result of this. And where do we see this on the page? The Two of Wands. Well, I'm going to point right now, there are a couple of things going on here. You've got the Mars in Gemini, which we talked about recently because we had another Two of Wands come up. Sun and Mars are still trying to one another here. And so this is a very active thing. Sun and Mars, they get along very well. They're both in air signs right now. So it's all about the thoughts, plans, and communications. It's definitely about the collaborations, working together with other people, communicating, sharing, expressing our ideas, so that we can set in place some plans, some policies for either building or rebuilding structures and networks for support, institutions for support that don't just support a few, but they support the whole collective, right? So you've got the Sun and Mars here, both very active planets, but both very fiery. You know, the Sun is about your ambition, and the Mars about what your ambitions are, and your ability to go after them. Mars is very active in pursuit of whatever it is that we feel ambitious about. So these two are working together right now. We really are coming up with a plan, air sign style here, and thinking about what it is we're going to do sort of for the rest of the year or for the next several years, because there are a lot of things in transition right now. You know, Saturn is going to go into Pisces pretty soon. Pluto is going to move on into Aquarius after having been in Capricorn for over 20 years. So there are a lot of shifts happening, and you know, this year is going to be, you know, kind of got off to a slow start, but it's going to be a different year than last year or the last several years, where, okay, there's a lot more promise in this year. There's a lot more capability to really make your dreams come true. Saturn in Pisces is going to be about being able to materialize what you can imagine. Isn't that powerful? Isn't that going to be fun? And then Pluto in Aquarius is going to be about really bringing transformation to the way that we create structure for the security and uplift of all. So that's the Two of Wands on the page. I also want to say that Jupiter and Chiron are here in Aries, closing in on a conjunct together. So that's personal growth, personal expansion, and healing, our ability to sort of resolve old problems, coming together. They're in an intensified position together, and they're in Aries. So in Aries says, when you take action, you will enjoy that personal sense of expansion. When you take action, you will find healing. So lots of stuff on the page here today saying we are getting ready to take action. We are definitely in a planning phase, and we are actively in pursuit of those bigger, better goals for ourselves in our lives. And let's bring the Six of Swords in here. I know I didn't use the best lighting for this today, friends. Hope you can see well. So the Seven of Swords and the Two of Wands. Take a sip here. So, you know, one of these people is sort of, I'm going to use the word bootstrapping it. And I'm not really fond of the concept of bootstraps. I don't really like it when people just tell you, well, you know, get up off your butt and get to work, right? Life is a little more complicated than that for some people, for all of us at one point or another. So, you know, nobody does it alone. And I don't ever want anybody to get the impression, especially for me, that I think you should be going it alone. This is about collaboration versus trying to do things on your own, right? Here you've got somebody who, you know, they might have their own idea. They might have their own plan. They are alone in this picture, sort of, again, beholding the world before them and thinking, what can I do? You know, what kind of plans I can make? I have big plans for this, you know, for what I would create here. But that doesn't mean that they're going to wind up working alone. In fact, they're going to wind up collaborating with others, because especially big plans don't get executed on their own. You don't get to, you know, let's say if you were to rob a bank, and I'm not saying that you should rob a bank, but if you were going to rob a bank, you're probably not do it on your own, right? You need a couple of friends, you need a couple of people on your team to, you know, someone to drive the car, someone to bag the money, someone to make sure nobody, you know, runs out of the building and calls the police on you right away. Of course, if you walk into the bank and you try to rob them, they're going to call the police on you right away. But just saying that, you know, plans are cooperative and we need partners in them. And I think the Two of Wands understands that. And once that plan starts to gel, starts to fall into place, when we start to make a definite plan, you know, you start thinking, okay, yes, and I know this person who sails a ship, so I might be able to use their help. And I know this person who knows how to get me the supplies I need. So then you start collaborating once you make a plan. This is less about collaboration and more like a figure of a person who would like you to think that they have done it all themselves, right? Oh, look, I made all these wonderful plans. You know, ignore the fact that they have somebody else's name written on them. You know, oh, I have all these really good ideas. Well, actually, they're ideas that I had from someone else. And so, you know, the difference here is, possibly one of the differences here is that, you know, when you're making your own plan, you know the truth of it, you know the heart of it, you know the how and the why of what you're doing, especially the why. And that's important because that is the thing that keeps us impassioned about what it is that we're doing, right? That's the thing that keeps us engaged and involved. Whereas if we just go try to make off with somebody else's plans, if we try to, you know, cooperate with other people to bring about some big accomplishment based on somebody else's plans, you know, we may perceive it as being a good idea, but we don't necessarily know the heart of it. We don't know the why of it. We don't know what brought the person who planned that to want it. And therefore, it's probably not going to unfold the way it was supposed to unfold, right? It'll be a cheap knockoff. It won't be the right way to do it, because it wasn't our plan to begin with. And, you know, it's almost like we didn't care enough to make our own plan. So, you know, when we try to implement somebody else's plan, when we try to use somebody else's ideas to do what it is what they said they were going to do, you know, there's just less of our heart in it. It's more probably about, you know, earning some recognition, earning some, you know, political or even social, political, or even financial clout, you know, because you're just going to take off with somebody else's information and ideas and go see what you can make of them. And then the other thing is that this person is looking over their shoulder, and this person doesn't have to, right? You know, in this case, your plan is your plan, your idea is your idea, your future is your future. It comes from your heart, your passion, your drive, okay? Whereas in this case, it's more like the drive is to get ahead without doing the work, right? And you know, I mean, we all work other people's plans from time to time. We all get engaged and collaborate with other people to bring their things to fruition, and that's a good thing. But that's not the same thing as just sort of trying to do what somebody else has said they were going to do, or taking advantage of their good ideas, or even taking advantage of their goodwill and sort of doing your own thing with the ideas, the plans, the things they've communicated to you. Right. So this brings in a whole separate set of problems with it, because again, once you do achieve something, it's probably not going to be as good, because it didn't come from the heart. It came from this sort of calculating idea that you could skip the planning mode, skip having your own ideas, skip making your own plan, and go ahead and implement somebody else's to your benefit. Whereas this one, this is not so much about, oh, all the money I'm going to make, or, oh, all the clout I'm going to receive. It's just like, oh, I have it in my heart, a passion to do this thing. Right. So we have to follow our passions and not just our desire to get ahead in life. Because if we're just, following a desire to get ahead in life, if we're just trying to, collect all the good ideas and make them our own, we might find ourselves in a situation that we didn't know that we were looking for, because we probably didn't know what we were asking for when we started posing as somebody else, or posing as somebody who has these ideas when we didn't. Yeah. And I think that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Hopefully that was clearer than mud. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate your presence here. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.